This is the picture-perfect medieval village of Civita di Bagnoreggio. Population 12. The only way to get across the crumbling canyon is on this 366-metre-long pedestrian bridge. It used to be connected by a natural land bridge, but earthquakes and erosion eventually sorted all that out. People abandoned their homes, and the city became known as La Città che muore, the city that dies. We spend the whole morning here, and later we visit another unique Etruscan town, Pitigliano. The land around is known as Calanci, or the Badlands. The soft tufa rock sits on fragile, constantly shifting sand and clay, hence the collapsed land and the chasm. In fact, the current bridge is actually the third one they've built so far. I took this photo on the Belvedere Lookout, which is where you first will take in this awesome sight. Now you're probably asking yourself, how come this unbelievably dramatic town stays so far off the regular tourist radar? The answer is simple: you need time. Tour groups on their ever so busy itineraries usually focus on connecting the famous cities and sites, and rarely have genuine spare time to spend a few necessary hours away from the motorways, which in this case is on the far side of those hills. At Albatross we do. In fact, all our tours are designed specifically that way. The walk across that pedestrian bridge is well worth it. Meet Neil and Rochelle, who have just come through the narrow stone tunnel where you enter this beautifully preserved old town. This is the view over their left shoulders, narrow stone streets winding through town. Facing them is the delightful pizzeria. The main square is small and simple, but on every corner and around every bend are antique alleys, stone steps and shady pathways. I reckon this guy could be one of the remaining 12 city inhabitants. Just look at those flowers. They are everywhere. Vines climb walls, and it seems every nook and cranny brims with colour. Terracotta pots overflowing with geraniums match the terracotta tiled roofs. And what is so nice is it's not spoiled. There are enough interesting shops, stores and little cafes without it being ruined. A perfect place for a morning at leisure. We are now firmly in the heartland of the Etruscan civilization that preceded the Roman Empire. They lived in a dozen or so hilltop towns scattered around, and one of these is Pitigliano, where we enjoy lunchtime this day. Very different from Civita di Bagnoreggio, this ancient town still thrives. It's an absolute pleasure to stroll around the narrow cobblestone streets and squares, to shop and grab lunch in an alfresco cafe. This is Albatross after all, so what's the rush? Here's a fascinating thing. The dozen or so Etruscan cities were all interconnected by a series of via cava, roads carved deep into the soft rock, well over 2,000 years ago. Some, like this one you will visit, are up to 10 metres deep. And the strange thing is, no one really knows for sure why they made them. Were they ancient processional routes? Possibly, as often rock tombs and burial caves are located nearby. Anyway, after an amazing morning in the pretty time capsule village of Civita di Bagnoreggio, it's time for lunch here in Pitigliano. Come join us in this hidden Italy before the word gets out and it all changes forever.